Hi there. I'd like to first thank you for agreeing to participate in my research regarding media and the investigation into if it has changed over time. Your participation will add to the collective knowledge of media's place in history and its impact into current day society. If at any point during our conversation you can't think of an answer, we can always skip the question. Also, if for any reason you want to pause or stop during our discussion, that is no problem as well. I'd like to first begin by having you state your name and date of birth.
Naji, July 18th, 1981.
Okay, Naji, how would you define the term media?
It's a form of communication.
Okay. And from, let's say, the age of up to 10, what was your favorite television show growing up?
Get Smart.
Get Smart. And what type of emotions or memories do you associate with Get Smart?
I just remember watching it after school, and that, it made me laugh.
Okay, so it made you happy, made you laugh. And was it a comedy show?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you typically consume media when you were growing up? Let's say up until the age of 15.
I would say through television.
Okay. And comparatively, how do you consume media now?
Mostly through the internet.
Okay. What other alternative methods do you use to consume media?
It's internet or television.
Okay. Do you consume media alone or in the company of other people?
A little bit of both.
Okay. And would you say this has changed over time?
I think the consumption of media alone is something new. I used to consume media with people more when it was, you watch television with other people. But now I have the ability to, read a news article on my phone, and that's just to myself.
Okay. Did you ever consume media through the radio?
Yes.
Did you ever have a particular radio show or music station you were fond of growing up?
I think Cool FM.
Okay. And what sorts of memory or emotions do you associate with Cool FM?
A range of emotions. It was mostly music, so depending on the song, I could feel, almost anything. Sad, happy,
Okay.
pumped up.
Right. Do you remember any memories, like experiences you had while listening to Cool FM?
Mostly, it being the thing that woke me up in the morning, as well as, what was playing in the car when you're riding along the train.
Right. Do you perceive media as a commentary about our society?
Do I perceive or pursue? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Perceive.
Yes, some of it, for sure. Like movies and television shows that are, that are scripted are definitely a commentary on what's currently going on. But, other facets of it are just factual, like the news.
Right. Do you think the media should be responsible for how it influences its viewers, or only to the broadcaster's ratings?
I think there's a level of responsibility for how it influences its viewers, yes.
Where do you think media should draw the line?
that's a tough question. I would say, it shouldn't promote, hate or violence, real life hate or violence.
Right. So you were stating that if it's fictional violence, then it's acceptable?
Well, I mean, if you're watching an action movie, like, yes, but if it's promoting, going out and like some of those filmed bum fights where they pay two people who are homeless to fight each other. Yes. Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that.
Okay. Would you say media is meant to be taken seriously or simply a source of pure entertainment?
It depends on the form of media that you're consuming. So, I mean, if you're watching the news, then yes, it should be taken seriously. If, you're going to a movie, then it's entertainment.
So you would say it's about the content of the media?
I'd say it's about the context of the media.
Okay. Do you think, let's say, a fictional genre, if it's serious in nature, should it be taken seriously? Or again, as simply a source of pure entertainment?
If it's serious in nature, I'd hope that it would be taken seriously.
Okay. Do you think media has changed since you were growing up?
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely the form of, like, the method of consumption has changed, as well as the content and what's allowed now versus, what was allowed back then.
So let's delve into that. What was allowed back then and what's allowed now? If you could just clarify that answer.
Well, I think, on television, they're definitely allowed to get away with more risque content than they were back, when I was growing up, in terms of, even the words that you're allowed to say. Like, before, it'd be hard to find somebody able to say hell or, a swear word on television. Now, depending on what channel you're watching, it can be commonplace. Definitely, the level of sexual content has gone up. Violence, I would say, has gone down. I think, the 80s were more about action than currently. But the realism in the media has also gone up, where, even children's comedies right now seem to be more realistic than, the fluff that was on television back when I was a kid.
So when you say realism in children's television, give me an example of that, if you can. What is more real?
I would just, I mean, like, I just can compare it to, like, watching that show with Steve Urkel back when I was younger, and that was, like, considered, I would say, like, age 10 to, like, teenager comedy. Right. Now we're, on a Saturday morning, we're watching ABC Spark, which is, like, geared to the same age group, and you're watching an episode of, Melissa and Joey, and they're actually, talking about topics like sex, where that would never, have appeared on, well, even if it appeared on Urkel, it wouldn't really have been, as realistic of a discussion.
Okay. Do you think media played a more ethical role at some earlier point in time?
I don't think I can really comment on that, like whether it was more ethical earlier on than it is now.
Let me clarify. Do you think it took a more ethical stance with what they broadcasted compared to now?
Well, I think they were definitely censored more,
Okay.
and I don't know if, that's more ethical or less ethical, but definitely I would think there was more censorship.
Okay. Do you think media is political?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. And also, what are your thoughts on the phenomenon of reality television?
Well, I think it's interesting social experiment, even though, like, as reality as it is, it's still not reality.
And what forms of
I would call it less reality television, more unscripted television.
Okay. And what forms of reality media do you watch?
Well, Survivor, I would say, would be the number one reality TV show that we watch. Other than, I guess The Bachelor. Even though, like I said, I don't know how real that is. It's just putting people in an extraordinary situation and, not giving them a script, but, seeing how they react to it.
And are you able to describe the experience you get watching reality TV and how it differs from the experience of watching, say, a fictional show?
I think, in a fictional show, I tend to just consume that media purely for without much thought. Where in reality, watching a reality TV show, I often would, contemplate, what if I were in that situation? And what would I do differently? So there's definitely more thought put into, if I were in that person's shoe, because, theoretically, it could be possible for me to be in that person's shoe.
Okay.
Where, if you're watching a TV show, well, I'm not a cop on Hawaii Five-0,
Right.
so, I don't really have to think, what would I do in that person's place?
Okay. Would you lump websites like Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram as a source of media?
Could you say that again?
Do you consider Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram a source of media?
Even though I don't use them, I would say they are, definitely.
And how would you say social media is different from traditional sources of media?
Well, it's definitely, there's less journalistic integrity, basically because there's no oversight to, what's really being posted up there. It's, anybody can post anything, really. So the level of trust of, if you're using it as news is kind of harder to do that.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's also, if there's an event happening in the world, sometimes it's the quickest form of information, not necessarily the most accurate. And, I've read articles, after the fact that have kind of disproved what, the initial thoughts of the people in the situation were when the situation was going on.
Yes.
Sometimes, you see something going on and you don't really understand what it is, even though, you kind of speculate and you post something.
Right.
In fact, it's, it could be something entirely different. It's just your perception of it.
And do you have any guess as to how people experience consuming social media versus traditional sources of media?
Can you repeat the question again? Sorry.
If I'm consuming social media, how is that different in my experience with that to consuming television or radio?
Well, I think social media a lot of the times is more personal because you're consuming information about, things that people are posting. So you're consuming information about family and friends and, or people that you follow or your favorite celebrities. So it's more definitely targeted to your interests, as well as I would say, hits kind of closer to home.
Well, perfect. Thank you for participating in my research, Naji. If you have any questions regarding my findings, I will provide you with my contact information following this call.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.